Look at the walk of this guy down the... Look how he's running. He calls me retard in the morning. Jewish. San Francisco. Right there. See that walk? That's Jewish. That called me retard in the morning. He's a retard because he called me a retard. So, after the Hague of Dirk Jan van Dam, the Scotland film and Radio Globo, and the sciences that are empty on your coastlines, and not some cheap-ass dark mission, that's what we call Dr. Parrots. It doesn't matter if they're Italian Dr. Parrots, or British, or UN, or Arab, Saudi, Egypt, Russia, Poland, Berlin, Warsaw Internationals. It doesn't matter. This is what they call Schadenfreude Jr., because obviously Schadenfreude Jr. was worse than some Jewish fuck in San Francisco calling me a retard on drugs or ganging up. So it's not a question, you see, of corporations or scientists suing you with Dirk Jan van Dam with that paperwork 221 DAF. It's not a question of corporate worlds that were on the coastlines with that girl being the mermaid. Long ago you had the intel that eventually had that disaster zone on the coastlines, man-made, within US soil, with scientists leaving en masse after that accident on the coastlines and bringing back Disneyland a particular corn cob. But this is what we call, they're not only cowards. These people are not only cowards. No, they're not necessarily on drugs or not on drugs or whatever. That's what they meant by a collective. They don't understand the hate. They don't even understand why 221 came back in this format. Calling me a terrorist or any name, traitor, a Hague. You see, the nails is old news on the news in the world. I was thinking about the child phenomena. But what they are saying is that with all your PhDs, you can't even reopen a pink shit. And the girl was raised black. So, when you're surrounded by people that hate and are cheerleadings, the Europeans, when they see that, when they see anyone, when they see that level of stupidity, that level of hate, that level, I'm going to say retardation, for somebody who's already seen the devil and come back with a hate for sciences, that's one. Obviously, the Scotland film and Radio Globo, not so much for Disneyland also, but because of what happened with the Hague and the sciences, the lowlands, on the coastlines, because it's old news on the news. Quite frankly, you know, when they say there's limits to what you can do after the Hague with the sciences that were there, with the ship to yacht, the whole shit, mermaid and all. Considering long ago you had that and you had it for many years, many lives, and then eventually with all the flyings, defending the barons and doing my shit elsewhere, all those runnings that many times, that girl went through the Hague. And they said nails, that's all news on the news, is pink, managed to do blues. There's a ship they are. They left with her. Now, when you try to explain to people that there's nothing that comes out of a Hague or smashed in head on the coastlines, there should be no pink, replacement child, particular corn cob, obviously shouldn't be Ubermensch's byproduct. We even got the Germans in Germany who knew of that girl, remembered her and said, look, German airspace is saying she was a phenomenon. We have kids named after her as an obituary. And there was a ship to yacht. We were together, we left. After the accident, we got an accident on your own soil on the coastlines. Blaming the Mossad, blaming the corporations, blaming the tanto. That's that. Because you could see it coming from China with all those flies and all those runnings and all those flies. It means you don't know what you're doing in your own country, which is bad. So saying you are the most intelligent in sciences in the US is almost like slapping the Chinese in the face or the Russians or others. Let's face that UN is how do that. Now, considering I'm not that girl, I'm another format of that girl, and I have to admit it because, yeah, I say I'm the original girl. I'm the trained poodle in the house. So when they bring back this one, they say crab to crabby. Sure. That's why this by now this Cochran film. That's why I'm telling the CIA. From long ago, you could see it coming, you didn't prevent it. You got major problems on those lines. You know it, everyone knows it. You're not denying it. But I have a collective of retards that are cheerleading Disney Central. And that's not mentioning connected dots with West Whereabouts in those 80 countries. I want to say he won for the US. I'm 51 years old by now. And that's obviously not even mentioning the parents of retirements. Famous Fresno's intelligent, their own version of shit, Fresno. With the hanging benches of Law Quintus and Nolly Direct and others, including the guys in London, who this paperwork of mine, by extension, are helping the parents. Why? Probably because of their jobs. Maybe because of what that girl did in history when she came back. Many of you don't even fucking know what July 2021 had done. And you don't remember, because July 20 has become like, in the US, like a joke. Because you don't understand the Hague. You don't understand the girl had her head smashed in on the ghost lines. You don't understand what a replacement Disneyland is. And because that's old news on the news, you barely remember the intel of that girl. So that, in my opinion, tells me that it's pointless that a Russian or Soviet or Saudi or German female to come like this back in this format. Now that was the sciences on the ghost lines. As I was saying, for Fresno, where the parents are in retirement, they're born in pioneer camps beyond the capital city. They're D1s. You might as well leave so. D2 from the beginning. So when you look at work, you have to respect the work of Papa and Mama. You have to respect the work, because being on helicopters dropping aid all over Africa, where we lived, mostly, and Asia and South America, then you wonder why they're defending. Oh, because of the job. They did, yeah, mostly natural disasters. True. They did go to Iraq twice, so got to the junior, and they're looking, you see, Bush Senior, Bush Junior. They're looking, you see, they remember, in all the capital cities, old news on the news, they remember how much hate there was towards Shadowford Jr. and me. And they remember, yes, and they're being sued for it with all the Dr. Barretts in ways that you wouldn't understand after the Hague on the coastlines. So now I know what 2-1 signifies as Disneyland when she comes back as a ghost of herself. You don't have a country. You don't even have thinking people. So either you listen what you don't like about the Hague on the coastlines and the sciences that were lost with big-ass corporations with the leader as a pin-up girl. You don't like the Hague, but you don't want to hear it. That's intelligence. I can guarantee you, there's one thing I can guarantee you, that girl was not alone. And, so bad enough, okay? That's bad enough to bring back a pin-up girl. As I was saying, if there is any genetics blues after the Hague, as a byproduct of stupid times with German airspace, we'll say, then you have to go to the geniuses on the planet, on sciences, and say, you see it coming from fucking China. Those guys left, and I think we have some blues. But if the death and the Hague happened in the US, as Etienne Van Damme would say, the lowlands of the Hague, on the coastlines of sciences, it means you saw it, you were laughing while the girl was doing all those flies, defending the parents, runnings, defending the parents on the roof to the hills, and then the hills to the mountains, that you, didn't want to see. like blind. So you can call me blind, you can call me Disney, you can call me anything, you can say to me, big ass bitch, big ass hole, you're Disneyland. It won't make a fucking difference to them. You can say train poodle, whatever you want. You don't even know how the blues were made. So I'm not going to be sitting here and talking to a bunch of fucking assholes who wish the worst for me. And yes, like this morning, like that guy who was walking past me. Of course he's Jewish and of course he's a retard. I'm just giving an example. How many you have of those? Fuck it, US, you're retarded. This country doesn't know why I came back. This country doesn't know why they Ken Van Damme and The Hague went on overdrive after The Hague on the coastlines with the corporations suing you with paperwork. They're doing more than suing you with those signs. They can sue you literally to get them back and come with those corporations. For me alone, I did Grays and Blacks. I didn't even do pink cancer. They had a pink cancer. I had the guy of that. Sorry, 221 bye. And that's not. This is old news on the news now. Connected us for West Global in this format after The Hague. That's not mentioning the bank. Don't say it to me. Well, obviously I'm out. I'm in an alley. Well, of course, obviously after The Hague, Tread poodle in the house. No, that's not mentioning the balance of present. No. You see, and this is the hate. You don't like hearing it. If that was coming from China, pretenses, well, we have to get the parent. You see, this is retarded. You saw it coming from China. It's all news on the news. You hate me and you hate the parents. Because if you hate me, you hate the parents. You hate your own country. You hate the sciences on the coastlines by hating Disneyland as a pin-up girl, and you hate yourselves with your fucking PhDs and psychos and pushing me towards the psychos collectively. This is the US. You may think that's nothing for the CIA, but it is, because it happened on their own soil in California's coastlines. And the buildings are empty even on the East Coast. Cancer, space that. But it happened in California. Goodbye. Shall I say bitches or shall I say hoes? From a girl who had her head smashed in on the coastlines and came back as a particular corn called Disney. That's all news on the news, US. That's not mentioning the parents of Fresno all the time. Famous intelligence of Fresno all the time. It's goodbye. Scotland Film and Radio Global. Bye now. Sorry, CIA. I have to stay out after The Hague. You could have bombed Fresno with the hanging benches of Laura Quintus and Nolly Direct for the jobs of the barons. That many times, because you're da. And as for the coastlines, seeing that you could see coming from fucking China, in my opinion, on your soil, you could have prevented it. 221. I'm tired of being the pin-up girl Disneyland. Goodbye. Oh yeah, you geniuses. Goodbye.